Hello everyone, this is Professor Warren, and today I want to show you one more time how to utilize the library resources to find some research for your paper. So, as we discussed in class, right, the databases, if we want to think of them, are almost like academic Google searches, right? We utilize them to find academic journals, right? And academic journals are almost like, academic magazines. They have in them articles, academic articles, and those academic articles are peer-reviewed research. They're some of the best sources of information we have out there. And so, as students, you're probably the first one, right? If you type in NCAT library, probably the first search engine you're going to use is Aggie Gold. Nothing wrong with Aggie Gold, but it does have a lot in there. So it's a lot you're going to have to cipher through. So let's say, for instance, you're starting out your research and you want to just see what is out there regarding your topic, right? So let's do just sexism. I always like to do this one because I think it's one that a lot of students tend to do as a topic for their paper. So we'll hit just search. And what's going to happen, which I'm going to show you, is again, we have about 400,000 search results. That's a lot you have to go through, as well as, again, say you didn't want to look for ebooks, right? Because here is going to tell you what the source is, right? Ebook, print book, right? And say you want academic articles. What you need to do is go over here in the filter section and click article. And it went from 400,000 results to 300, right? 300,000. So now you've eliminated 100,000, roughly 100,000 search results, right? Now, the problem with Aggie Gold, right, is that yes, even though it says article here, right, sometimes it'll slip through the cracks some newspaper articles. And it's not going to say newspaper article, it's going to say article, and I don't want you guys to get confused. So what you need to do now is go over here and click peer reviewed. And the reason you want to do that is because, again, as we talked about with academic articles, what makes them so credible is that they're peer reviewed. Other researchers in that particular discipline have looked over that anonymous article and have made comments on it, right? They've reviewed it for accuracy. So let's hit peer reviewed, because we know academic articles are peer reviewed, newspaper articles are edited, but they're not peer reviewed. And whoa, look, we dropped that to 70,000 results, right? So even less than what we had originally, right? Now again, I've had a few times where still newspaper articles slip through the cracks. So if you look here, right, it says in Science, in Journal of Economic Behavior, in Science again, in the Modern Law Review. This is where it's telling you what this article is located in. So, let's say, for instance, let's just do gender work and organization, right? We click on this just to, maybe this is the source we want. And I need to log in because I am at my house. I'm not on the school Wi-Fi. Go ahead and do that. You might have to do that too. And as we see here, right, if you read an academic article, usually the name of the journal will be at the top, as well as the volume, the number, the year. Here's the name of the article, and here are the authors of it, right? But even here, right, you still might say, well, I'm not sure if this is an, academic journal, right? The easiest way is to Google search it, right? Look in Google, type in, Journal of Gender Work and Organization, which we can do right now. So let's just copy this because my fingers hurt from typing all day. So Journal of, right? And if it's not a journal, it's not going to come up. Journal, yeah, Gender Work and Organization, right? And it even tells us here, is one of the leading academic journals thematically focused on gender and feminist history, right? So again, confirms that it's an academic journal. So that's good for us, right? We'll go ahead and just exit out there. Yeah. So again, always check, and again, sometimes, as we see here, Journal of Economic Behavior, a lot of journals do have the word journal in their name or the word quarterly, and that automatically will tell you it's an academic journal, right? However, like we see with, oh, where was that one? This one, right? You might be saying, what in the heck, right? Well, a few other indicators this is an academic article is, again, it's got a version, an issue number, a version and an issue number, right? We know academic journals have them, right? Because they're like almost academic magazines. They come out, with different subscriptions, different seasonal publishings. So again, newspaper articles might still have this, but this is also one indicator that it's an academic journal. And again, as I discussed in class, often academic journals publish in the spring and the winter. Some do spring, summer, winter, fall, but we see this, right? Published winter 2011. That does smell like an academic journal, right? So let's view the PDF. And this one has the name of the journal here at the bottom, right? So again, doesn't still give us much. Sometimes they'll give you a little bit more. This one doesn't. So let's copy it. Journal. And then, we can go here. Then their own website. It's a feminist philosophy forum, right? So this one seems very credible. Yep, a journal of feminist philosophy, right? Good to go. Now, say, for instance, okay, you're looking through this, you've gone through the pages, and you still can't find what it is that you really are wanting to talk about, right? This is where you vary key terms, right? We could stick with sexism and do sexism in the workplace, right? Maybe you actually want to focus in on the workplace, and watch this. Now you've gotten more specific. You have 4,000 results, right? Now you don't have to go through 70,000. You can go through 4,000. Now, say you still are doing this and you can't. And again, what will happen in Aggie Gold is it'll sort of, it'll eliminate your filter. So you got to click article again, and then you got to click peer reviewed. To make sure you do that. I always forget sometimes until I look and like, oh, I'm getting ebooks again. And look, whoa, doing that, 900 results, right? You've gotten very specific. You have a good chance of finding something that'll help you. And this is also where we can vary key terms again, right? Another word for sexism is gender discrimination, right? And so let's see if we get the same thing. Look, 18,000, again, we got to put in our filters, but again, it was different than that original search, right? Article, and then let it load a sec, a little slow. Not my computer, it's the database. And then peer-reviewed, and then we get 5,000 results, right? And look, completely different than what we were getting, right? So again, this is where those pre-writing strategies come in, right? Write topics that are similar to one another, make connections, write synonyms for words, and maybe do a basic Google search, see what other terminology people are using, and then plug that into the database. Now, say for instance, let's go back to the library, and Aggie Gold wasn't helping you. One other place you can go is go to Academic Search Complete. It's essentially like Aggie Gold, but this one, it's almost, if we want to think about it, right, it's doing a Google search versus a Bing search, right? Google will give you different results than Bing is going to give you. And this is almost the same thing, right? Aggie Gold is going to give us different results than Academic Search Complete. So let's do sexism again, right? This one, what's good about this one is it does give you a few, different options, right? It helps to sort of expand your key terms. So let's do sexism in the workplace since we did that. You need to do the same thing you did in Aggie Gold. These ones are a little bit more clear, right? It even tells us it's an academic journal, so that's very helpful. Aggie Gold kind of does. But let's do peer-reviewed, because again, we know they have to be peer-reviewed. Let's click academic journals, right? And it even eliminates, all the other ones too that were right there a second ago. I would also click full text when you do this one, because if you don't, it might give you a result that the school does not have access to. So hit full text and see, look, we're already getting some that we didn't see in Aggie Gold, right? So again, play around with the key terms, utilize Aggie Gold or Academic Search Complete. Another good one to use, let's just hit back, is if we go to one of my favorites, go back again. One of my favorites is JSTOR. It's under J. These ones are more, this is a database more for the humanities, but, you know, I think it could be a useful source for a lot of you. So again, you know, same thing, right? Sexism in the workplace. We'll see what's in here. Give it a sec. Yep, 7,000 results, right? So again, this one's more a humanities-based paper. It's not going to be as maybe in depth as a scientific-based database, but definitely, you know, there are some interesting ones that we have not seen yet so far. Now again, make sure you hit journals, right? Because they have access to book articles and research reports as well as photographs too. And again, brought it back down again. As well as, again, you can also do it by subject, which is really nice in JSTOR, right? So again, say we just wanted to do feminist and women's studies, right? 918 results. Say we wanted to also have it, right, where I talked about critical lenses. Maybe you're looking at a feminist / critical race theory approach. So let's click on that one. And again, it sort of opens it up a bit more and saying, hey, look, here's some that sort of meet both of these criteria, right? Very, very useful source. Let's go back. And again, since a lot of you guys are going to be using scientific, or at least your focus is more scientific or psychoanalytic, there's also in the S's, there is the science database. And these ones have academic journals related to the sciences. Science Direct is also a very good one. I think it's a lot user-friendly for students. Sage Journals is pretty good. Again, they say, hey, we have over 1,000 scholarly journals in the humanities, social sciences, science, technology, and medicine, right? And again, if for some reason ProQuest is a good one, if you're still stuck and can't find anything, you've tried keywords, you tried all those databases, just search through each of these databases and see if one matches more with what you're looking for. One other thing I wanted to mention before I end my whole, you know, how to use Aggie Gold and whatnot. Very quickly as well, before we leave Aggie Gold, because it's applicable on all the databases. Again, you know, just to show you, if you click, a lot of them have a cite button. Now, these citations are not 100% correct, but again, if you want to, you know, get a quick citation and then look it over, double check it through Purdue OWL or through your book, they are here for you. So just FYI, right? Because again, if you copy this, right, it's missing the URL, so you would get points off. But it does get you the majority of the information you need, which can be very helpful for you and cut back on the time you're using. Or, again, it just goes ahead and gives you some of that information here. Okay, so very quickly, Wikipedia. We did talk about it in class, right? Wikipedia is not the best source of information, right? I would not cite Wikipedia because not everything on here might be correct. This is one that I helped to write, but Wikipedia can be a good place to get started. It can maybe, you know, introduce you to terminology we're not aware of that you needed to be aware of, as well as, again, some of the sources on here might be credible. So, one way you can utilize this as a source is, say, for instance, here. Titania, one of Uranus's moons, was named after Shakespeare's characters. All of its moons, including Oberon, are named for characters from the works of William Shakespeare or Alexander Pope. Say you wanted to put this in your paper. You can look at, again, these are where the sources are. Click on this, and it takes you to the reference page. So now, let's go to the reference and utilize those strategies we talked about last class in understanding arguments, and double check to make sure this is a credible source. Again, I know this is credible because it's funded by the MacArthur Foundation and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. They're pretty trustworthy. This isn't updated. Again, it's from 2022. It's recognized by the IRS, so it means it's a nonprofit. As well as we see their mission statement here, and there's a lack of advertisements, which shows me it's not clickbait, right? So this would be a good source. So use Wikipedia strategically, right? If I was to click on, I don't know, let's just click on this one, see if it's good. Oh, this one is good, right? This is a good one. I've done William Blake, but just, if you're just clicking around, make sure that it's credible, right? So, for instance, this one's from Screen Rant, right? Might not be the most credible source depending on, what it is that you're looking for. But use Wikipedia strategically. Don't cite the source, but look at, the individual references and make a good judgment on whether it's useful to you and trustworthy. So, one other thing before we leave, let's just do this really quick. We'll just do article one more time. I'll just click one. It's almost very similar to what we did with Titania on the Wikipedia page. So let's click on sex discrimination. Let it load really quickly. And view the full text. This can also be a good way. Again, this one's from JSTOR, right? Huzzah. This can also be a... Oh, shoot, this one does not have one. Well, let's go back. Because this one's an older one. This is from the 70s, so obviously things are done a little bit differently. It's a bit of an older one. That's the problem with some of the older articles. Let's do one that's a bit newer. 79, 81, 85. Ooh, geez. Yeah, 2003. Let's do this one. So, similar to how we did with Wikipedia, you can make your sources work for you, right? So maybe, you're reading this source and you're like, oh, this fact here, 91% of men were economically active compared with 84% in spring 1999. The current overall participation rate is 79%. You can look at, they cite labor force survey of 2000, right? Say that, for some reason you also think this source would be useful in your paper, right? And you need more sources. Labor force survey. Let's go to their reference page and look for, let's see, labor force survey. Right here is the citation, and this should help you to be able to find this source. So if